The Serbian Solution, written by Eileen Enwright Hodgetts and read for you by Nancy Batko. Copyright 2011. The Serbian Solution, Chapter 1. 1957, United Kingdom. The journey had been long. 3 times Uncle Cyril was forced to pull the car over to the side of the road. Lizbeth's mother helped her out of the car and watched her as Lizbeth stood in the shadow of the big gray car, heaving and retching and generally hating the whole experience. Someone suggested she should sit on a piece of newspaper. It was supposed to stop motion sickness. Someone else suggested ice cream. It was cold, and it paralyzed the stomach. Her mother said, "No, she'll be all right. It was only another 10 miles. Lizbeth leaned against an old stone milepost, and with a damp hand she traced the lettering on the granite block. She read the words aloud, proud of herself. Dragon's Green. X. May 1991, United States. Lizbeth Price sat up suddenly in the hospital bed. The room was dimly lit by the light from the corridor and the digital readout on the IV pump at her bedside. Sitting up had been a bad idea. Everything hurt. She concentrated on localizing the pain. Her arms and legs were okay. Her head didn't hurt. All the pain was at the site of the incision in her abdomen. The dream was still vivid. The bright blue of the English summer sky, the leafy canopy over her head, her mother in a blue flowered dress. Lizbeth could smell the engine fumes from the old gray car and the acrid cigarette smoke drifting up from the 2 men who had been sitting in the front seat. It was, she decided, all those hours in the smoke-filled car that had made her nauseous. Or maybe not. Maybe it was the anesthetic. Someone had given her an anesthetic. The 2 things seemed to blend together. The nausea from the hours in the car and the nausea from the anesthetic. Whatever it was worth all of it to have that sudden, clear vision of the milestone. Dragon's Green. X. She turned uncomfortably. The incision was only hours old, and located the light switch. When the nightlight came on beside her bed, her roommate shifted in protest behind the curtain with a token groan of resentment, and then lapsed into silence. Lizbeth gritted her teeth, ignored the pain of her incision, and opened the top drawer of the bedside table. She located her purse and dragged it across the bed and onto her lap. She kept her mind focused on the image of the milestone, seeing every detail of the ancient carving. What drug had she been given this time? What new formulation of chemicals had finally succeeded in unlocking her memory? How amazing that the memory was still there. Still accessible after 34 years. The vivid memory of her 4-year-old self standing by that faraway roadside. Whatever the drug was, it was a potent one. Lizbeth's strength was fading fast, and she wanted to lie back down in the pristine hospital bed and sleep. At last she located her address book. Every 5 or 6 years, she would buy herself a new address book and mentally and physically toss away the names of the many people who no longer counted in her life. Ex-girlfriends, ex-business partners, an ex-husband, acquaintances on both sides of the Atlantic. But she always transferred one number, filed under S, for Stefan. Last time, she had even checked the international code and updated it. Thank heaven, she thought. She was in no condition to be wandering off to find a phone directory and discover the correct code for calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Swansea in Great Britain. But by the time she had dialed the international code and her own phone credit card number, her mind was fogging over again, and the dream was returning. The faraway ringing of the phone blended into the sounds of an English summer's day. She could smell the dank, fertile undergrowth and her own childish vomit. Flies buzzed around her head. No, not flies, the rhythmic, high-pitched pulsing of a British telephone. She dragged her mind back into the present and concentrated on a woman's voice announcing a phone number. Lizbeth recalled that the British answered their phones
Sample complete. Ready to continue?